Chronicles of the Interdimensional War, The Shadow Within. Chapter 1. Arrival. The spaceship quietly exited the wormhole, gliding through the void of space with a grace that belied its size. The crew inside, a group of highly skilled individuals, held their breath as they approached the unknown planet before them. "Prepare for landing," Captain Leon commanded with a steely voice. The ship descended through the planet's atmosphere with a rush of heat and friction. The crew's hearts pounded in their chests as they entered into the final stages of their descent, navigating through an unfamiliar terrain. Finally, the ship came to a halt with a jolt, kicking up a thick cloud of dust and debris. After a moment of silence, the ship's engines powered down with a hiss. The moment the crew had been preparing for had arrived. They eagerly filed into the ship's airlock, dressed in their protective equipment which beeped and clattered with every movement. "Are we sure we're safe to exit?" one of the crew members asked, their voice barely audible through the intercom system. Captain Leon hesitated for a moment before answering. "We've scanned the area, and there's no sign of life. But be prepared for anything." The airlock doors opened, revealing a vibrant world beyond. The first crew member stepped cautiously out, the weight of their suit pulling them down. The planet's gravity was much stronger than they had expected. They surveyed the surrounding area, taking in the alien sky and the exotic plant life sprawled out before them. The air was thick with a warm, humid atmosphere, and the sky was a surreal mix of greens and purples. "Everyone, spread out and take a look around," Captain Leon's voice crackled through the intercom. The crew dispersed throughout the surrounding area, documenting everything they saw. As they ventured further into the unknown terrain, they encountered strange and terrifying creatures, some of which had never been seen before by human eyes. Despite their fear, the crew continued their exploration, advancing deeper into the planet's jungle-like ecosystem. Eventually, they discovered something that defied all of their expectations: a towering structure, as tall as a skyscraper, carved from a material that glimmered like gold. They tentatively approached the structure, marveling at its construction and sheer size. But as they drew closer, the crew began to recognize the hints of danger that lurked within. Then, a deafening roar echoed through the air, and the sky darkened as a monstrous alien creature swooped down upon the crew. The team scattered, running for their lives as the colossal beast closed in on them. Shots from their laser guns rang out, but the creature was impervious to the energy blasts. In the end, the crew was forced to abandon their mission and flee back into their ship, still dangerously unaware of the secrets lurking on this planet. Little did they know that their discovery would set off a chain of events that would leave them reeling, questioning their very existence and the life that they had left behind. Chapter 2. The Council. Captain Leon's brows furrowed in frustration as he sat across from the Council, their imposing figures looming over him. He knew they didn't approve of his team's recent risky expedition, but it was a risk he felt was necessary for the survival of their species. "We cannot continue taking these risks, Captain," the Council leader's voice boomed through the room. "Your crew's reckless behavior has put the lives of all of us in danger." "But we discovered something incredible," Captain Leon argued fiercely. "This could be the key to our survival." "Your discovery doesn't justify the cost," the Council member retorted coldly. "You're putting the entire mission at risk with your impulsive behavior." Captain Leon gritted his teeth, knowing that the Council had a point. But he couldn't just sit back while their species slowly died out, trapped in their current circumstances. "We need to explore new worlds, find new resources," he pleaded. "The Council can't just sit and wait for disaster to strike before acting." The room became silent as the members of the Council deliberated. Finally, the leader spoke again. "We are willing to consider your proposal, Captain," the Council leader said sternly. "But you need to be cautious, and you need to prove that your methods are safe and responsible." Captain Leon breathed a sigh of relief, but he knew that the hard part was just beginning. He would need to lead his crew with a steady hand, balancing their desire for discovery with the safety of the mission. As he left the council chambers, he knew that the stakes had been raised. But he would do whatever it took to ensure their survival, even if it meant going against the council's wishes. His first step was to gather his team, to explain the importance of their mission and the dangers they would inevitably face. "We need to be careful, but we also need to be bold," he told them, his voice ringing with conviction. "We have a chance to save our species, to find a new home. We can't let this opportunity pass us by." And so the crew set out once again, this time with a renewed determination and purpose. They traveled to new worlds, battled terrifying creatures, discovered new technologies, and pushed the limits of their own capabilities. Every step of the way, they knew that they were taking a risk, but they also knew that it was a risk they had to take. They were the last hope for their species, the final line of defense against the forces of entropy. Through it all, Captain Leon led them with a steady hand, keeping them focused on their mission and reminding them of what was at stake. And with each new discovery they made, they moved one step closer to saving their people and ensuring a future for their species. Chapter 3. The artifact. The crew trudged wearily through the rocky terrain, their eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of life or civilization. They had been traveling for weeks, searching for new resources and technologies that could save their struggling species. Finally, in the distance, they saw a glimmering object, shining like a beacon. They picked up their pace, eager to investigate. As they approached the object, they realized that it was unlike anything they had ever seen before. It was a small, metallic cube, pulsing with a strange energy. "Captain, what is this?" one of the crew members asked, her voice hushed with awe. "I don't know," Captain Leon replied, his mind racing with possibilities. "But we need to bring it back to the ship for analysis." The crew carefully picked up the cube, feeling its weight in their hands. It was surprisingly heavy for its size, and they could feel the hum of energy coursing through its metallic shell. Back on the ship, they began to dissect the cube, subjecting it to numerous tests and analyses. As they worked, they realized that the cube was more than just a simple object. It was a powerful artifact, holding untold secrets of the universe. Days turned into weeks as the crew worked tirelessly to unlock the cube's secrets. But the cube was stubborn, and it refused to yield its knowledge easily. Finally, Captain Leon realized something critical. The cube was a puzzle, a complex series of interlocking patterns and shapes that had to be deciphered before its power could be unlocked. With a newfound resolve, the crew worked tirelessly, solving the intricate puzzle piece by piece. And as they did, the cube's power became more apparent. It was a gateway to other dimensions, other worlds, other realities. The crew hesitated for a moment, unsure of whether to take the risk of using it. But Captain Leon knew what they had to do. "We have come too far to stop now," he told them. "We have to try." The crew carefully set up the cube, charging it with energy and preparing for the power it would unleash. With a surge of force, the cube opened a portal, revealing a gateway to another dimension. The crew looked on in amazement as they peered through the rift, unable to comprehend the incredible significance of what they had achieved. And then, something emerged from the portal, something that the crew could not have predicted or controlled. A dark, swirling entity, crafted from shadows and nightmares, slipped through the rift, its eyes locking onto the crew with a sinister hunger. A fight for survival broke out, as the crew battled the dark being, their lasers flashing in the dim light of the ship. They were backed into a corner, forced to think on their feet and fight for their lives. But just when all seemed lost, the entity was sucked back into the portal, imploding in a bright flash of light. The cube fell quiet, and the crew stared at it in awe, realizing the full extent of its unbelievable power. Back on the council ship, Captain Leon submitted his report, detailing the incredible discovery they had made. The implications of the artifact were staggering, and the council members knew that they would have to tread carefully with this newfound knowledge. But for Captain Leon and his crew, there was no turning back. They had unlocked the secrets of the universe, and they would continue to search for new technologies and discoveries to save their species, no matter the cost. Chapter 4. Betrayal. The crew had just returned from a successful mission to a distant planet, one that had yielded incredible technological advances that would help their species thrive. As they trekked back to the Council ship with their discoveries, they couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment and pride. But that feeling was quickly shattered as they stepped onto the Council's ship, only to be ambushed by a group of armed guards. Confused, the team held up their hands in a gesture of surrender. "Captain Leon, you and your crew are under arrest," one of the guards said, his voice harsh and accusing. "What is the meaning of this?" Captain Leon demanded, his brow furrowed in confusion. "You have been accused of stealing vital resources from the Council and consorting with dangerous aliens," the guard replied, his hand on the hilt of his laser gun. "This is a misunderstanding," Captain Leon tried to explain. "We have only been working to save our species." But it was too late. The crew was thrown into a holding cell, their minds reeling with disbelief and confusion. What had gone wrong? They had been careful. They had followed protocol. They had done everything in their power to help their people. Days turned into weeks as they languished in the cell, their thoughts consumed with trying to figure out what had happened. And then, finally, they received a visit from a council member. "Captain Leon, we need to talk," the council member said, his voice grave. "What is going on?" Captain Leon demanded, his patience wearing thin. The council member hesitated for a moment before responding. "There are those among us who believe that the risks you have taken are too great," he explained. "They fear that your actions will lead to our destruction, not salvation." Captain Leon's eyes widened in shock. "And you believe them? After all that we have accomplished?" "It's not a matter of belief," the council member said. "It's a matter of fact. We have evidence that you have been working with dangerous aliens and have been stealing resources from the Council." Captain Leon felt his heart sink. "But that's not true," he protested. "We have been working to save our species. What proof do you have?" The council member hesitated again before answering, knowing that he was about to shatter the captain's world. "We have evidence that one of your crew members has been working with an enemy of the Council, leaking sensitive information and betraying our trust." Captain Leon's mind reeled as he tried to comprehend the implications of the council member's words. Who could have done such a thing? Who among them had betrayed their people? With a heavy heart, Captain Leon realized that he would have to find the traitor if he was ever going to clear his own name and that of his crew. He vowed to leave no stone unturned, to find the betrayer and bring them to justice, no matter the cost. Chapter 5. The Sacrifice. Captain Leon knew that finding the traitor among his crew was going to be no easy task. He had to act quickly, before any more damage was done to their mission and their species. As he began to investigate, he felt a growing sense of frustration and anger. How could someone on his own crew betray their people like this? How could they be so selfish and short-sighted? The stakes had never been higher, and they needed to come together if they were going to have any hope of surviving the coming storm. Days turned into weeks as Captain Leon worked tirelessly to investigate every lead and piece of evidence. He was dogged in his determination, his instincts leading him down twists and turns that he never would have imagined. Finally, he found what he had been looking for, concrete proof that one of his crew members had been leaking information to the enemy. It was a gut-wrenching realization, but he knew that he had to act quickly. He confronted the traitor, his voice fierce and unyielding. How could you do this? How could you betray your crew and your people? The traitor hung their head, shame and regret etched on their face. I was desperate, they said, their voice barely above a whisper. I didn't think there was any other way. Captain Leon's heart softened slightly, but he knew that this was no excuse. You have put us all in danger, he said sternly. And you must be held accountable for your actions. He handed the traitor over to the council, who sentenced them to life in prison for their betrayal. It was a harsh sentence, but it was necessary to send a message to others who might consider putting their own self-interest above that of their species. As they resumed their mission, Captain Leon couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness and loss. They had come so far, but at what cost? Was it worth sacrificing one of their own for the greater good? But he knew that there was no other way. They were fighting for the very survival of their species, and they could not afford to be divided or distracted by infighting and betrayal. In the end, he knew that he would have to make many more difficult decisions like this, ones that would challenge his beliefs and his values. But he also knew that he could not falter, that he would need to be a strong leader, guiding his crew towards the future they all hoped for. As they traveled further into the unknown depths of space, he knew that the challenges and the sacrifices would only get greater. But he was committed to the mission, to doing whatever it took to ensure their survival, no matter the cost. Chapter 6. The revelation. The crew had been traveling for months, their journey taking them to the furthest reaches of the galaxy. As they searched for new resources and technologies to save their species, they couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder at the vastness of the universe. But their mission was about to take a dramatic turn. As they made their way towards a distant planet, they picked up a strange signal, one that they had never heard before. Captain Leon ordered his crew to investigate, their nerves on edge as they approached the source of the signal. And then, finally, they saw it, a massive structure, unlike anything they had ever seen before. "We must investigate," Captain Leon said, his voice resolute. This could be the discovery of a lifetime. The crew suited up, their minds racing with possibilities as they made their way into the structure. As they explored, they began to realize the enormity of what they had stumbled upon, a civilization unlike anything they had ever seen before. The structures were massive and sprawling, their designs intricately woven into the very fabric of the planet. And it was clear that they had been abandoned for eons, the only sign of life the strange signal that had drawn them here. As the crew delved deeper into the cavernous halls, they began to uncover secrets that would change their understanding of the universe forever. They found technology that was so advanced that they could barely comprehend it, these libraries of information on subjects that they had never even heard of. They found artifacts and objects that seemed to defy the laws of physics, their power and energy shining like stars in the darkness. And then, as they were about to leave, they stumbled upon something that would shake them to their very core, a message, etched in a language that they could not understand, but conveyed through images and symbols that spoke to them on a visceral level. "The universe is not what you think," the message read. "It is far greater, far more complex, than you can ever imagine. But you must be ready. Ready to embrace the unknown, ready to discover the mysteries that lie at the heart of everything." Captain Leon knew that this was a revelation unlike any other. They had uncovered secrets that had been hidden for eons, ones that would change everything they thought they knew about the universe. As they made their way back to the Council's ship, their minds racing with possibilities, they knew that they had a newfound sense of purpose. They would continue to explore, to discover, to unlock the secrets of the universe, no matter the obstacles they faced. For they had seen something that few others had ever seen, a glimpse of the true nature of the universe and the possibilities that lay hidden within it. And they knew that they would never be the same again. Chapter 7. The final battle. The crew returned to their council's ship changed, their minds brimming with excitement and renewed sense of purpose. They had uncovered the secrets of the universe, technology and knowledge that was eons beyond their own civilization. And they knew that they could not keep this discovery to themselves. But there was little time for celebration. As they returned to their home planet, they found that the enemy who had sought to destroy them was now closer than ever before. They were attacking with renewed force and power, their ships raining down destruction on the planet's surface. Captain Leon knew that they needed to act quickly, to use the technology and knowledge they had gained to turn the tides of the war. It was a battle that would decide the fate of their species, with everything hanging in the balance. As the Council's ships engaged the enemy in fierce battle, the crew used the advanced technology they had uncovered to push their ships to the limit. They used energy shields to deflect the enemy's weapons, harnessing the power of the universe to deliver counterattacks that were more powerful than anything the enemy had seen. It was a brutal and intense battle, one that tested the limits of their will and their technology. The ships were damaged, their crews pushed to the brink of exhaustion. But they were not alone. As they fought, they saw other ships arriving on the horizon, their fellow species who had found hope and inspiration in their discoveries. Together, they fought back. They rallied their forces, unleashing a torrent of energy that seemed to shake the very foundations of the universe. The enemy was thrown into disarray, their ships unable to withstand the relentless assault. And then, finally, the battle was over. The enemy's ships were destroyed, their forces scattered to the winds. The crew and their allies had won, emerging triumphant and united in their quest for survival. As they looked out at the planet below, Captain Leon knew that they had won a great victory, but that more challenges lay ahead. They had seen the secrets of the universe, but they had only scratched the surface of what was possible. But they would face it all together, united in their goal to explore and discover, to unlock the mysteries that lay at the heart of the cosmos. Together, they would face whatever came their way, confident in the knowledge that they had the strength and determination to overcome any obstacle. For they were the hope of their species, the last line of defense against a universe that was vast and complex, but full of wonder and possibility. And they knew that the future was theirs to create, one step at a time, one discovery at a time, one battle at a time.